Hong Kong presses ahead with extradition bill despite biggest protests since handover. Hong Kong, June 10. Reuters. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam vowed on Monday to push ahead with amendments to laws allowing suspects to be extradited to mainland China a day after the city's biggest protest since its handover from British to Chinese rule in 1997. Riot police ringed Hong Kong's legislature and fought back a hardcore group of several hundred protesters who stayed behind early on Monday after Sunday's peaceful march that organizers said drew more than 1 million people, or 1 in 7 of the city's people. While the protests plunged Hong Kong into political crisis, just as months of pro-democracy Occupy demonstrations did in 2014, keeping pressure on Lam's administration and her official backers in Beijing. Chants echoed through the rendition bill has generated unusually broad opposition, from normally pro-establishment businesspeople and lawyers to students, pro-democracy figures and religious groups who fear further erosion of Hong Kong's legal autonomy and the difficulty of ensuring even basic judicial protections in mainland China. Britain handed Hong Kong back to China under a one. But many accused China of extensive meddling in many sectors, denying democratic reforms and squeezing freedoms, interfering with local elections and the disappearances of 5 Hong Kong-based booksellers, starting in 2015, who specialized in works critical of Chinese leaders. All later appeared in an official newspaper in China, where the Communist Party holds sway over the courts, said Foreign. Unfortunately, the proposed changes provide for case-by-case extraditions to jurisdictions, including mainland China, beyond the 20 states with which Hong Kong already has treaties. It gives the chief executive power to approve an extradition after it has been cleared by Hong Kong's courts and appeal system. People treasure. Lam said last month that, after feedback from business and other groups, only suspects facing more serious crimes, or those normally dealt with by Hong Kong's High Court, with a minimum punishment of at least 7 years, rather than the 3 years, would be extradited. She said that extradition requests from China could only come from its highest judicial body, the Supreme People's Procuratorate, rather than any provincial authorities. A U.S. official said Washington was monitoring the situation closely, noting that it called into question Hong Kong people's confidence in the future of Tara Joseph, president of the local American Chamber of Commerce, said the credibility of Hong Kong was on the line. In democratic Taiwan, which China regards as a breakaway province, President Tsai Ing-wen said on her Facebook page Hong Kong leader Lam sought to soothe public concerns and said her administration was creating additional amendments to the bill, including safeguarding human rights. She said the bill would be put for debate on Wednesday as planned in the city's 70-seat Legislative Council, which is now controlled by a pro-Beijing majority. Lam and her officials stressed the need for haste to prosecute a young Hong Kong man suspected of killing his girlfriend in Taiwan. But Taiwanese Beijing officials have increasingly defended Lam's plan, couching it as a sovereign issue. A retired scene organizers put the size of Sunday's crowd at more than 1 million, outstripping a demonstration in 2003 when 500,000 took to the streets to challenge government plans for tighter national security laws. Police put the figure at 240,000 at the march's peak. Many thousands were still waiting to join the march from Victoria Park on Hong Kong Island on Sunday as tens of thousands of others reached the Legislative Council in the Admiralty Business District. About 1,000 people joined a protest in Sydney and another protest was also reported in London. US and European officials have issued formal warnings, matching international business and human rights lobbies that fear the changes will dent Hong Kong's rule of law. Guards removed damaged barricades from the front of the Legislative Council building during Monday's morning rush hour, and cleaning staff washed away protest debris. All but one protester had been cleared from the area, with residents back to work as normal. Hong Kong newspaper Mingbao said in an editorial the government should take the protesters seriously and that pushing the legislation forward would exacerbate tensions. Reporting by Vimbam Tong, Anne-Marie Rowntree, James Pomfret, Greg Torode, Claire Jim, Vimbam Tong, Sumit Chatterjee, Jessie Pang, Shellen Lee, Forina Fu, Donnie Kwok, Alexander Solom, and Twinny Siu. Additional reporting by Ben Blanchard in Beijing. Writing by Farah.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park.